Today, the Muslim faithful across the country join the rest of the world to observe the Eid-el-Kabir festival. Regarded as one of the holiest festivities in Islam, Eid-el-Kabir, according to Islamic history, is a commemoration of the willingness of Ibrahim to obey Allah's command to sacrifice his son Ismail unto him. Muslims around the world thus observe this holy event, also called the Festival of the Sacrifice, or the Sacrifice Feast, anchored on obedience, trust and sacrifice. The period is usually marked with high attendance of Muslim faithful in mosques and praying grounds across the country. Of course, there is a lot of funfair with a lot to eat and drink. Here on Nigeria Today, we will be reflecting on the essence of the Eid-el-Kabir festival and all you need to know about Eid-el-Kabir. Welcome to the program and happy Salat to all our Muslim brothers and sisters. I am Dennis Adigunle. The program is Nigeria Today, and with me in the studio to discuss the essence of Eid-el-Kabir festival is Sheikh Abdul Ghani Abdulrahim Zubaydi. He is the Chief Imam Gwarimpa Estate Jumat Masjid and a lecturer of Islamic law, Nasarawa State University, Kefi. Also here in the studio is Imam Mohammed Jamil Labaran. He is the head Ikra Center of the International Center for Islamic Culture and Education. You're both welcome to Nigeria Today and Barakat the Salah.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. So let's kick on with this topic. First and foremost, let me come to you, Sheikh Abdul Ghani. What exactly is the significance of the Eid-el-Kabir celebration?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulullah wa ba'd. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We ask him to bless his Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We ask him to bless Nigeria and Nigerians. Looking at the significance of Eid-el-Kabir, we will first look at it from this perspective of being submissive to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the reward of being submissive to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As you rightly said, Ibrahim alayhi salam was told by Allah to sacrifice his son Ismail alayhi salam. So he heed to the instruction of Allah, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rewarded him handsomely. So this great significance of Eid-el-Kabir is to signify being submissive, obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to know certainly that Allah the Almighty is going to reward the person handsomely.
Okay, Mohammed Jamil, just give us your perspective. We know that with this command by Allah to Ismail to sacrifice his son, he was also tempted by Satan to disobey this command. Just give us your thoughts on this.
Actually, as the Sheikh rightly said, the strongest message in the whole story or in what happened between Prophet Abraham alayhi salam and his son Ismail was about sacrifice. It's all about sacrifice, and that teaches us, a lot of things, including, the sacrifice that we just mentioned, and also, being submissive to Allah, as the Sheikh rightly said. And also another thing that is very important in a family setting, which is obedience to parents. So I think this is the direct message from all that.
Okay. Given what we're seeing with unrest, shall we say, in the country, how would you say that, how can we leverage on the message of Eid-el-Kabir in terms of ensuring peaceful coexistence in Nigeria? Actually,
in the way Islam prescribed how, the sacrificial animals should be distributed. There are narrations that say the sacrificial animal is to be divided into three. One, you consume with your family and what have you. And the second portion should go to neighbors, regardless of what religion they practice, neighbors and friends, regardless of what religion, regardless of what tribe. And the third is to the poor and the destitute. So in that, I believe the direct message is about harmony, is about peaceful coexistence. If there is no peaceful coexistence, you know, the recognition of this would not come to play at all. Yeah.
So, Sheikh Abdul Gadi, just tell us how would you see the imbibing of this tenet of the Eid-el-Kabir in terms of sacrifice and having consideration and compassion for others, whether they're from a different tribe, culture, or religion?
Actually, one looking at the Eid-el-Kabir occasion critically, one can learn a lot of lessons. One of it is, as regard to our peaceful coexistence, we will recall and we will know certainly that there are some elements in our society that are obeying the instruction of Satan, Shaitan. So when you have those elements adhering, heeding to the do's of Satan, you sincerely and automatically have unrest in the country. So looking at what Ibrahim alayhi salam did when Satan came to him to play with his intelligence, asking him to disobey Allah, God, not to do what Allah the Almighty wants. So Ibrahim alayhi salam asked Allah for protection, and he even threw stones to Satan. That is why in Hajj today there is a particular place where we throw a stone. So also in Nigeria, reflecting on what Ibrahim alayhi salam did when Shaitan came to him, we also in Nigeria, we should embrace peace, we should embrace religiosity, and we should always in our heart, in our action, to throw stone to Satan whenever it comes to us. Asking us that we should go and kill a fellow Nigerian is an instruction from Satan. So if we can reflect on what Ibrahim alayhi salam did that very day, you know, he asked Allah for protection, and Allah protected him, and he was able, after that protection, to carry out Allah's instruction. So in Nigeria also, and Nigerians, we should always shun Satan instructions, not because of politics, go and kill someone. We should embrace peace, and we should accommodate everyone, that we are all Nigerians and we are one.
All right. Coming to you, sir. This issue of sacrifice, this idea of sacrifice is central to Eid-el-Kabir. How would you assess the willingness of Nigerians to, not just Muslims, but Nigerians generally, and to sacrifice for others and to imbibe this critical tenet of Islam?
Actually, this morning we prayed the Eid prayer, and I happened to be the one who translated the khutbah, or the sermon, you know. And in the message sent by the Imam, there was, you know, the Imam was enjoining Nigerians to learn the act of sacrifice that our father Abraham did in terms of a lot of things. The first one he mentioned about, you know, the coming election. He mentioned this categorically, that we have to sacrifice in such a way that, you know, we become patriotic, you know, Nigerians, because without coming out to vote, we have to sacrifice the time. We have to sacrifice, you know, that lengthy time we stay, you know, in queues and what have you. We have to endure, because it's an act of sacrifice. If we don't do that, we would end up having, you know, not the very good ones in some certain positions, and which is very bad for us. Then secondly, you know, we should take the act of sacrifice and translate it into, you know, loving one another. For instance, you have to sacrifice for your brother. That's why, you know, you have to sacrifice a portion of the sacrificial animal you slaughtered to give it to somebody, to give it to the destitute. And this, you know, has to be all the time, not just during, you know, this festivity.
Okay. Yeah. Sheikh Abdul Ghani, what does Islam say about those who are not in a position to, in a financial position, to be able to purchase a ram, or cow, or a goat, or whatever the case may be, and, you know, divide these into the three components and distribute them as Islam directs? What is the situation with people in that category?
Really, the people actually, and all the time, fall into different categories. Those who have, those who do not have.
Yeah.
And Islam, being a religion of mercy, loving one another, says that whenever the one that has financial capacity sacrifices, he should divide it, as you rightly said, into three: one for himself, one for others, and then he can keep one for few days after. Everyone should feel happy. Yeah. Everyone should feel glad. There shouldn't be a sign of poverty in anyone's house. Let everyone enjoy, live, let others live, eat, let others eat. Yeah. And that is how, it goes with everyone.
But those who cannot purchase...
So they also, those who are unable to purchase, they should not feel bad, and they should not overstress themselves going to borrow, because they should know that somebody is there for them. Okay. Somebody is actually there to give them part of what he has already satisfied.
Because of that circumstance, they're not disobeying.
No, they're not. They're not. Okay. Because Islam says anything you are unable to do at a particular time, you are not obligated to do it.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay, Sheikh. What's your name? Mohammed Jamil. Let's just move on to this issue of patriotism in Nigerians. Obviously, you mentioned the elections are forthcoming. What would be your advice to Nigerians ahead of these forthcoming elections? Obviously, Eid-el-Kabir is about sacrifice and showing compassion to others. And like you said, it's taking it beyond that, not just for the day, but to take it beyond into, future life of the country. How would you advise the Muslim faithful and Nigerians in general in terms of their conduct ahead of next year?
Actually, I would not say much more than I said. Yes. about that. If we actually look into this critically, these PVCs we are talking about the freedom you have as a Nigerian. It's the freedom I have as a Nigerian. So maybe along the line, some you might get along with some shackles or into some shackles or some inconveniences. But as a patriotic, a countryman, somebody needs to sacrifice, that time, because the ultimate goal is to get the right persons into, the right positions. Because somebody cannot sit back without doing or without carrying out his or her obligation and sit back, to complain. Or to say, you have not done this for us, you have not done this for us. You have to, take part in the exercise as a true Muslim. You have to take part, in that. And not only Muslim, as a true countryman, it's not enough for you and I to just sit behind and complain and lament. Lamentation or complaint cannot solve any of our problems. We have to act.
All right. Sheikh Abdul Ghani, just give us your thoughts on that matter.
I think I would like to begin by looking critically at the meaning of patriotism. When we talk about patriotism, I think we will not get it fully conceptualized without looking at the love. When we talk about being patriotic Nigerian, we are talking about loving Nigeria. We are talking about taking Nigeria as a project. We're talking about looking at Nigeria of today and looking at a brighter Nigeria of tomorrow. We're looking at knowing that Nigeria was great, and Nigeria can be great, and Nigeria will be great by the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it's all about loving Nigeria, and this is what we have already learned from the Prophet of Islam, Muhammad, because he loved Mecca, his own place, birthplace. He loved Medina, his own immigration place. Migration place. And also, if we are really actually following him, we need to love Nigeria. And when you love a country, you sacrifice for it. Sacrifice means leaving your comfort room, leaving your comfort zone, and leaving what you have that can benefit you to other person, to other entity. So Nigeria now, as a legal entity, we love it, then we sacrifice for it, and then even we give all what we have to make it great again. It was great.
All right, so it's like
to be great again.
Yeah, good.
I'd love to add to what Sheikh said. As part of the message sent by the Imam today, during his sermon, he made mention of the prayer or the supplication our father Ibrahim did, you know, about Mecca when he placed his family there. He said, وَإِذْ قَالَ إِبْرَاهِيمُ رَبِّ اجْعَلْ هَذَا بَلَدًا آمِنًا وَارْزُقْ أَهْلَهُ مِنَ الثَّمَرَاتِ. He supplicated, he asked, he asked Allah Almighty, God Almighty, to bless that place and to secure it.
Okay.
You know, اجعلوا بلدا آمنا, to secure it, then provide, you know, its occupants with fruits and provision. So this is out of patriotism. Allah, or God Almighty, placed Abraham there, you know, and God in His infinite mercy and wisdom, He placed us here in Nigeria. So we belong here. We have no any other country than this place. So we have to be patriotic.
All right, well, we'll continue the discussion. For now, you're watching Nigeria Today, and we are still discussing the significance of the Eid-el-Kabir festivities and lessons for Nigerians. We'll take a break now and hear from the views of some Nigerians on the streets. We'll be right back.
Eid celebration is to remind ourselves that whatever we do on earth, someday we'll surely give account in the front of our Creator. And to also remind ourselves that we are not here to stay everlastingly. Someday we shall always give account, we shall always return to where we came from. And at the end of it all, to be more of godly than of worldly. You understand? Than of material things and all of that. We should come closer to God, love one another, be our brother's keeper, and at least stand by each other. Especially when the situation that Nigeria is facing now, you know, we need to come together, share love within ourselves, love one another, and be our brother's keeper, and just, you know, live together in peace and unity.
You have to hold on to your faith, the God you believe on, because Abraham believed in God. That is why he was able to make that sacrifice before God sent a ram to him.
Even if you are the same language, not the same language, we are Muslim also. Even if you are Christian, this time around or after this Salah, continue to love with each other.
As a Muslim brother, I have to advise them, wherever they are celebrating the Salah, they should carry any other person along. I see whether you're a Muslim or not, try to show them love.
Wish Nigerians well in this celebration. I wish every Muslim faithful, including the Christians, because we are one, we are all together. We serve the same God. I wish all of us well in this celebration. I believe that with this celebration, we'll be able to come together in unity and see how we can pray for this nation together and move the nation forward.
Well, some of these comments from people on the outside, they've tallied with a lot of the things that you've said. Let me come to you, Sheikh Abdul Ghani. Nigeria seems to be a praying country, but there seems of late to be a breakdown, of a moral and spiritual breakdown. So how do we now reconcile the two disparities?
Actually, it's a big lacuna in the attitude and character of Nigerians. We go to the mosque, we go to the churches, but little we walk our talk. And I think Ibrahim alayhi salam believed in Allah. And when Allah put his belief into test, he passed the examination. I think Nigerians right now, our belief in God is put into test now. So we should walk our talk and we should behave well if really we believe in God, and if really we have mind that Allah is going to call us into account one day. So I think in summary, we need to walk our talk and we need to act based on our belief in Allah.
All right, Mr. Mohammed Jamil, we need to walk the talk. How are Nigerians going to incorporate that psyche into their conduct?
Actually, I've been saying this often. The faithful are mostly ignorant of the religion or the faith they practice. So we cannot walk the talk if we don't have the knowledge, the education. You know, I attended last 3 days a program organized by some Christian fellows, you know, about peaceful coexistence. And I mentioned that if at all, you know, a lot of Muslim youth know about, you know, the corners of the religion they practice, and so also of the other, you know, of the Christians, you know, if we know actually what we practice, what our religion or what our faith enjoins, we would not take part in a lot of things. Because, for instance, I gave them an example with Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You know, he passed away, you know, owing a Jewish person that was living in the same city with him something. He gave him his shield, you know, as a collateral to collect or to take some debt from him. So this cannot happen if there is no, you know, peaceful coexistence between them. So we have to learn all this. We have to read our books, because, you know, knowledge is very important. That's why we believe that the first revelation that was sent onto our messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was Iqra, read. So that's why we are even the Muslim nation is called, you know, the nation of Iqra, that's read. But the irony is that, you know, Ummatu Iqra la taqra, the nation of Iqra, the nation of read, don't read anymore. So we have to, you know, change this narrative.
Some might argue that it's not a case of lack of knowledge, but that the knowledge is there, but the indifferent attitude. What would you say?
No, actually, I would dispute that. The greatest, you know, enemy we have is the knowledge. Okay. You know, this narration I gave about Prophet Muhammad and the Jew, you know, about Prophet Muhammad going to see the Jew, about some, you know, of his companions, like Umar ibn al-Khattab, you know, the great caliph, when he entered Jerusalem, you know, and the command he gave is still hanging in Jerusalem. It's there. We should read, and that message is, you know, is sending peaceful coexistence. When he came, he said, no one should harm any Christian, no one should harm any church, you know. So this is the teaching of our religion. Even if, you know, to a great extent, we don't know all this. You know, the proportion of our people that know that is not that much. Okay. And even if they know, you know, some of us who know and we don't work with it, it's a greater irony than even not knowing.
All right. Well, yeah. Time is fast against us. Sheikh Abdul Ghani, just give us your final thoughts. What is your advice to the Muslim Ummah and Nigerians generally going forward in this country?
To the Muslim Ummah and to Nigerians generally, my advice is that let us believe in Nigeria. Let us believe that Nigeria was great and Nigeria is going also towards greatness. And let us all support those who are really working for Nigeria to continue their good work. And let us all support blocking those who want to milk Nigeria, and then so that will not support atrocities, but we all support discipline and decency. And it's part of what we call in Islam al-amr bil ma'ruf wa nahy al-munkar. Al-amr bil ma'ruf means what? Enjoying what is good, supporting the good ones, wa nahy al-munkar, and to forbid what is evil and to block the evil ones. We all know those who are working for Nigeria. We should embrace, we support them, and then stop others.
All right.
Thank you.
Mr. Ahmed, your final thoughts?
Okay.
Briefly.
Yeah, briefly. Okay. I would build on what Sheikh said. We have to do that actually, and it's very important to mention that we have to, you know, eliminate sentiment.
Yes.
We should stop being sentimental. You know, in the recent past, you know, what, you know, Nigeria or Nigerians have turned into is that if this guy is from my ethnic group, is from my religion, he's not, you know, he's not faulty at all. And if he's not, You know, so we have to set that aside.
Okay.
We have to be objective. We have to be, you know, just in our judgments.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
thank you both for your insights. This is how far we can go on the program today. But before we go, let us thank our guests, Sheikh Abdul Ghani Zubaydi. He is the Chief Imam, Gwarimpa Estate Jumat Masjid, and a lecturer of Islamic Law, Nashua State University, Kefi, and Mohammed Jamil Labaran, who is the head Ikra Center of the International Center for Islamic Culture and Education. It's been a pleasure having you both on Nigeria Today, and once again, Baraka de Salah.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Baraka de Salah.
And to you, our viewers, thank you for being there and for staying tuned. Join us tomorrow for more insightful discussions on the program. Remember, Nigeria Today is on weekdays, same time. You can also watch any edition online at www.youtube.com/NTA News 24 Hub. My name is Dennis Adignwe Bakadasala. Enjoy the rest of your holiday.